there, Squirrel Army, how's it going? Today I want to discuss Bitter Triumph and how good I think it is.
You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing.
Alright, 2 mana instant, we destroy a creature or planeswalker, but as an additional cost we have to discard a card or pay 3 life. Now, that's a pretty interesting cost to cast this thing. I think it's a pretty small problem, especially if you're in a graveyard-based deck, which is why I don't think they actually should have printed a card like this to a degree, because there's too many graveyard decks that are just going to be like, what's that? I get my thing into the graveyard for free, effectively. So that's going to be really good. It's just like Dredge is just like one of the worst things they printed. Like, I played it, even I knew that it was one of the things that they were like, dude, I think they pretty much made a big mistake with this. But just 2 mana to kill a creature or planeswalker at instant speed is pretty darn good. And even if you're not in a deck that cares about putting things into the graveyard, I don't know, like, is 3 life so steep? I don't think it's like that steep, like, you know, especially in Commander where we start at 40 life and that. So, like, 3 life is hardly any life. Like, everyone pays for shock lands, and even people pay multiple fetch lands. So people often, like, bolt themselves just to get a shock land into play untapped. Like, so, like, I don't know. Like, and obviously Planeswalker isn't like the most impactful target, I guess, but it's not irrelevant text as I often say, or as people often say. If this was 1 mana, I think it would be worthy of being possibly a rare. Like, that's how good I think. Or maybe even, nah, it wouldn't be good enough to be a mythic. No. But if it was 1 mana, I definitely think it'd be a rare. At 2 mana, I think this is still pushing towards being an uncommon, honestly. Like, so this at common is friggin' ridiculous. This is insane. Like, this is just stupid. Like, this is one of the most busted commons I think that's in the set, dude. Like, what were you thinking? Like, you're gonna give 2 mana removal to black, and then you're gonna give it like a staple on negative effect that's basically just like air, especially in Commander, like in Standard, Modern, blah blah blah, that sort of stuff. Yeah, sure, that's gonna matter. But, like, 2 people play those formats or whatever, and they can work this out for themselves, how good this is in their format, not us. We're not going to worry about them and their format. This is our format, and it's pretty darn good in our format because, again, like, even if you're, like, at 4 life, like, probably, like, the worst possible position without literally just dying to this thing, I think you would rather lose 3 more life and be at literally 1 life if something's going to kill you, then, like, be just dead. Like, you would rather be at 1 life. Like, because, like, you never know, like, what you could do from that point onwards. Yes, there's always the problem of, like, well, the next person's just gonna kill you, but if you're the next person in the turn order, well, you're hoping no one has, something to do 1 damage to you, and it's always kind of that janky, fun little game that you can kind of play, and I enjoy that sometimes when it's just like, can anyone do 1 damage? Quick, this guy's at 1 health, we need to do 1 damage to him, boys, quick. Everyone's scrambling and going, oh man, how do we kill him? He's only at 1 life, quick. Trying to figure it out. Has anyone got an ability to do 1 damage at its speed and this sort of thing? It becomes very funny sometimes, I think. But, like, it doesn't always come down to that. But again, it is really funny when it sort of comes down to that. Because no one, like, runs like lightning bolt and garbage like that. So, yeah, just this, just like I used to think like what's it called, the one that gives -5 I think to a creature, Dismember. Like, that is 4 life to kill like one creature, one mana and 4 life to kill mostly things that have 5 toughness or less. This is like, you know, maybe it's a little bit more than that. So I guess not as quite as powerful in some way, but it's more powerful in some way because, again, just the fact that, you know, you don't have to worry about it, like, really. Like, I was thinking it's like Infernal Grasp, but upgraded Infernal Grasp that can now hit Planeswalkers. For effects that hit Planeswalkers, you're usually looking at 3 mana without a downside, 4 mana with some sort of kind of upside-ish for the most part, or just even neutral ones sometimes are at 4 mana when they're exile and things like that. You know, so again, like, I will take this because, like, I have a deck that's already in Rakdos colors that kind of wants to discard cards into the graveyard, or put creatures into the graveyard and whatnot, and it's not a very big cost for that deck, so I wouldn't really have to think too hard for that deck. It's just an upgraded Infernal Grasp. Infernal Grasp isn't bad, but even saying so, it's 1 more damage. So if, like, worst comes to worst, I'm taking 1 more damage to maybe hit Planeswalkers. As I said, maybe Planeswalkers isn't the most relevant type to put on this, but it's nice text that you won't complain about having at the end of the day when you go up against your friend's Planeswalker deck and you're suddenly like, cool, at least I have some sort of answer. Yes, it cost me 3 life or discarding a card, but again, if that cost of discarding a card is actually a benefit for you, you probably just like 100% don't care. And like 3 life is a fairly minimal cost to get a spell like this. Like, I see people, you know, fetch in Shocklands all the time and have them come in untapped, so people are bolting themselves a fair bit in the format as it kind of is. So I don't think it's like that big of a stretch to be like, hey, you're going to take 3 damage to kill this thing. Like, at 1 damage, or at 1 mana, I would feel like this would almost be pushing into being a rare. It is an uncommon, so, you know, not perhaps the best one, but still, like, it's still pretty darn good. Like, any time that they upgrade cards or give cards extra text, you know, it's one of those things that you got to look out for this sort of thing to, you know, figure out whether this can go in your deck. And, you know, like, if it's just for free value like it would be in my Rakdos, so I'm just going to go, cool, slam this in. Like some other decks are, like, again, you might have to take that 3 life, but sometimes you might not really care because you might have a land to pitch or whatever, I don't know. Or whatnot, so you never know. Like, and again, if you've got like a deck that cares about spells and you draw cards when you cast spells, you know, you might draw a card and then be like, cool, well, I can loot effectively or whatever. So that's not that bad either, but you guys can always let me know what you think. Write your thoughts down there in the comments below. Hope you've enjoyed this one and hope you'll join me again for more.